Rudy, you ready?
Hey, let's do it.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently
Row,
down
row,
the.
row your
You came
boat.
in way too late. You came in too late. You ruined it.
It's the echo.
Yep. The Roller of the World Vintage Baseball Podcast, talking to vintage baseball players, coast, coast, border, border. And we do. We talk a lot of California. We talk a lot of Arizona. We talk a lot of last week. It was where in the hell were we last week? Anyway,
Illinois.
Oh, we got to hit Illinois more. And back to the East Coast. And then we're going to be in Michigan for a bit after this. So sorry, Rudy.
Yeah.
And let me bring in my friend, my partner, my muse, Rudy Swampbox Frias. Rudy, hi.
Hi, buddy. It's good to see you.
You totally ruined row.
No, I nailed it. It's the echo. Trust, I do it all the time.
Would you believe that I set you up to fail no matter what you said?
Yeah, yes, 100%. I already knew that was happening.
Oh, good times. We had something more in detail prepared for the opening today, but actually it wasn't prepared, and that's why you didn't hear it. So maybe in the future. Rudy, vintage baseball has gotten off to a little bit of a start here with some teams trying to throw in some games in the end of March, beginning of April. You fools! And of course, they're all being canceled because of the terrible weather.
Yeah.
But in Major League Baseball getting its start, let's before we bring in our guest from the Saugerties Vintage Baseball Club of New York, Rudy, did you go to the VBBA conference?
I did not. I was there in spirit. I didn't get to make it this time.
Well, the last time we talked about it, you were on the fence because somebody wanted to go.
Well, I wanted to go. I could not get away. I mean, honestly, it was WrestleMania weekend, so I had to watch WrestleMania. And I'm joking. I had some family.
I am not joking. I watched WrestleMania both nights.
Yeah, me too.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Saturday was incredible.
Yeah, Javi really got into the Dominic and Rey Mysterio match, which was concerning, but he was on Rey's side. So
okay, here we go. So we're not going to bore everybody with WrestleMania talk. We're here to talk about vintage baseball. But at the end of our Scott Martino interview that will happen after the warm-up with Saugerties, we will get into WrestleMania if you want to stick around for that.
That's a tease.
So another new segment that's going to be coming out in the future. I think I sent Rudy something about this, but the boys from Hanford, the Ball and Bat Company, are going to be giving scores of what happened over the weekend, and maybe a quick description of the game's events, maybe the star of the game or whatever. So you will be sending all of your club game info to Mike Feeney and Rob Stoltz at Hanford. The website is the Hanford Ball Company or something. I don't know. You'll find it. And you can find us on there too. You can also find us on Podbean. You can find us on the Twitter, which we've decided to make more active. You can find us on the Instagram. You can find us on the Facebooks. You can come find us at the Flat Rock Invitational in May, weather permitting. That's enough of that nonsense. Rudy, you got anything to add before we bring in our guest?
Nope. Let's get to it. Can't wait to meet these guys.
Rudy, introduce them, would you? Do it.
From the newly formed, help me with, because I wanted to say, I almost said Saugerties barrel roller, and I apologize. Yeah. We have with us Will Quigley and Bobby Lavine. Gentlemen, welcome to the Roller Out the Barrel Show. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Do me a favor. Help out the listeners who are dumb like me. One more time. What is the name of the club that you are forming? Have formed?
It's the Saugerties Vintage Baseball Club.
See, it sounds better.
Welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party, pal.
Thanks.
Sorry, I had to play that.
It's necessary.
Sorry, I feel like I interrupted. Can you please continue, Rudy?
Volume's different. I apologize. But no, guys, it's so good to meet you. I'm excited to hear about you. You're stepping your toes into the vintage baseball community and starting it off right. So, let's just get into it. How did vintage baseball come into your lives? Let's hear from Will first.
So a couple of years ago, my son started playing Little League, and I hadn't played since Little League. And I kind of got the bug watching him play. It was exciting, and I loved it. And I didn't want to play softball. There's a lot of softball in this area. And one day I was on the internet, and I saw an ad for, I think it was the Mountain Athletic Club in Fleischmann's. And I was like, what is this? And, you know, it's guys, no gloves, no helmets, wearing old time uniforms. And I was like, you know, is this an actual team? So I started looking into it, and I saw that there was a couple other teams in Delaware County. And then I found out that Kingston, which is a neighboring town, was forming a team. So I reached out to them, and they let me come to practice, and I ended up playing a couple games with them, and that was it. I was like, Saugerties needs a team. So we're doing it.
Nice.
William, you do not currently have a vintage baseball name. Now, I just want you to know that it's historically accurate for you to not have a nickname, but it's also socially wrong. So you can go either way. You're not wrong either way you go. We're going to work on a nickname when we learn more about you. Let's bring in Bobby. Bobby, you came across vintage baseball and how?
Can you guys see me or no?
No,
Bobby, I can't see you, Bobby. I can't see you, Bobby. I can hear you. Hear you.
Now?
This is a Kevin Mensch situation?
This is a Kevin Mensch situation. We have another Kevin Mensch. We can't see you, but it's okay because the people on the podcast will be able to hear you. So the YouTubers, that traffic is slow, so it's not that big of a deal right now.
It's slow right now. It'll pick up. It'll always pick up. Bobby, here's what you got to do. What Kevin Mensch did is just answer the questions, keep working on your video, and get it to work right at the end of the show. Okay.
So basically, yeah, Will and I have been friends for, I don't know, since 2005, 2006. And I played baseball my whole life. And then kind of, Will, like I said, Will mentioned that he had played last year, talked a lot about it, and he wanted to do it, and so I kind of jumped on board.
Bobby, you got a nickname. It's Beantown. You obviously have some vintage baseball in your past. What clubs were you suiting up for?
Well, no, I played Little League all through high school, a little bit after high school, but Beantown comes from, I was born in Rhode Island, and just a diehard Boston sports fan, Red Sox, Bruins, Patriots. So Beantown is basically another name for the city of Boston.
Yes, it is, but you're from Delaware. I'm going to have to ask you to stop using that.
Yeah.
You have to do I don't know if you're familiar because Rudy and I are old. I'm way old. From Wayne's World. Hi, I'm from Delaware.
We're in Delaware.
That's your nickname.
Can't do that.
Bobby, you just said you've been friends with William since like 2005, 2006, and you haven't given him a nickname? Or are there nicknames that he just won't take?
That's appropriate. That's nothing that's really appropriate for the call.
Well, that's it. We're a family show.
Yeah.
But we teach our families to swear. So William, are you the captain of the club?
Yeah, so me and Bobby are co-captains.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I got two questions for you. Then we'll start with William. Please explain the home field you guys found for your matches.
So the first year we're going to use Lorenz Field, which is in a bigger complex called Cantine Field, Cantine Memorial Complex. It's a Babe Ruth field. It's, your basic field. That's pretty much it.
Bobby, your video just came on. We can see you. You got the
I got like a little link pop.
You got the plaid shirt, you got the beard, you got the Boston Red Sox hat. I would say you can keep the name Beantown.
Okay. No, I'm definitely diehard. Oh
yeah. Bobby, can you explain to us the uniforms that you guys decided to go with, what you're going to look like in your first season?
Well, Will basically kind of created those, and his wife did a lot of the work. Our hats, the logos. So we kind of want to be different. So like, I think we're the only team around, correct if I'm wrong, that has like that dark black uniforms. And we kind of took the socks, we looked at the socks. Some of the teams rock the same socks that we do. And so basically the S on it, we want to keep it, kind of simple, classy, dark, I guess you could say. And like I said, we don't really have a team nickname yet, and we're just Saugerties. So it's kind of like, the S on it. We really want the S to pop, so we kept everything black, the little bit of white accents on everything.
So I've seen the uniforms, and they look sharp. I'm concerned about the black in the middle of the summer, but if you guys are cool with it, then everybody else should be cool with it. But
well, a secret about it is it's just cotton, so it's not that wool blend. So it'll actually probably be a little cooler than some of the other uniforms.
All right. The
uniform I wore for Kingston was pretty hot last year. So yeah, I think this will be a little lighter.
So how did you guys come across scheduling, the ease of scheduling this in your inaugural season coming up? I'm going to pull up your schedule here in a second, but were you having issues as a new club getting teams to put you on their schedule?
So we partnered a lot with the three teams in Delaware County. So Nick from Bovina, he's been a big help. Colin from the Mountain Athletic Club, and then Andrews from the Delhi Polecats. So they kind of, they've been supporting us, and yeah, it was a little bit of a nightmare to try to set it all up. When we had our first call, I know a lot of those teams already had some games established, and we kind of had to make it work with what we had. And then we're going to have a couple games against Kingston. So yeah, I mean, it was a little bit difficult, but I think with the support of the other teams, we got through it.
Yeah, Colin and Nick are pretty solid dudes and past guests. So if you go on the Roller Out the Barrel archives, you can check out some episodes with those two gentlemen.
Yep.
Rudy, you're learning. We've come across Andrew from the Delphi Polecats name a couple of times. I would guarantee you, if he's willing, that he will make an appearance this season by the end of it. I went to your Facebook page. I don't see your schedule. Did you guys release that schedule?
Yeah, it should be pinned on there, I think. It should be maybe at the top. I can run down it if you want me to.
It's on Instagram.
I am interested in the events that you guys were able to slither your way into. Not the single games, but the events you actually got yourself on.
The Pigeon Pennant.
The Pigeon Pennant. I was about to bring that up. Yeah, talk about that.
So that's exciting. So not a lot of people know this, but Saugerties was the residence of Frank Pigeon Sr., who was on the Eckford Baseball Club of Brooklyn in the 1850s. And he retired and moved to Saugerties. He bought a house on the river. He was a pretty prominent figure in Saugerties at the time. And he had a son, Frank Pigeon Jr., who he was a pretty prominent figure when it came to the Saugerties Ulsters Baseball Club, which was the team in Saugerties in the 1870s and 1880s. They actually helped build and work on the Kierstead House, which is where our historical society is now housed on Main Street. And Frank Pigeon is buried here, right on Main Street. And so we decided to honor him and the family and we're going to do the Pigeon Pennant. It's going to have us along with the Kingston Guards, the Westfield Wheelmen, and the Bovina Dairymen. We're going to have 2 fields, and I think we're going to do like 6 games that day.
That's awesome.
Yep, that's Saturday, August 26th. I found it on their website. Naturally, that's where you should go, is the Saugerties vbbc.org to follow their club. They also have the Cowtown Scramble coming up at the end of September, weather permitting. It does look like you've had to start small. Very smart, by the way. Very smart. New clubs, much like new business owners, their eyes get much bigger than their wallet, so to speak, and they go out there and schedule 25 matches, and then everybody on the club's like, what the hell are you doing? I don't want to do this. And then you chase everyone away. So your schedule looks good. I assume you have, you're going to go through the process of building up respect, and you'll be seeing different teams on that schedule in the years to come. But for a first year, this is very good what you've done. In the off, because there are only about six dates.
Mm-hmm.
Are you two gentlemen going to barnstorm with some other clubs during the season, or are you limiting yourselves to just the 6?
So I right now am going to help Bovina. They have a game in Long Island, I think, the beginning of May. That's what I have scheduled right now. I may also play some games with Kingston. I'm not sure how their schedule matches up with ours with the games that we aren't playing against them, but can't speak for Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, same with Will. Like, I'm just gonna kind of tag along with Will if he needs help. The other teams need help, I'll definitely join Will. Just to kind of get our name out there, exposure. I think that's the easiest way to network.
It's a solid way, because not only do you stay fresh in between the dates, which I admire. I like how you spread out you got a May date, a June date, July, August. That's super smart. And then filling in will absolutely allow you to network. I mean, you're going to meet some really great, you're already off to a great start. You pretty much know the right people and have made connections with the right people. So I'm really excited for y'all.
Appreciate it.
I'm Bobby. I got a question for you. I'm heading out to Boston for the Rocky Point date, the weekend events, vintage baseball. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Rocky Point. You probably are. You've probably heard of it.
Is it in August?
Yeah. And but I'm taking a week's vacation with my wife. So we're actually going to be in Boston for a week, and we're going to go to a Red Sox game the first day we're in town, which is Sunday, I want to say August 13th, because it's the mighty, mighty Detroit Tigers coming to town, Bobby. And
Nice.
So I want to know, as I'm getting ready to buy my tickets here very soon to that game, where do I need to sit for a guy who's never been to Fenway, wants to sit in the best place to experience Fenway? Where do I need to be buying these tickets for?
I would just suggest whenever you get tickets, because it's such an old stadium, there's a lot of support pillars. So if you go on to like a lot of the websites like SeatGeek now, it'll show you the view, because there's so many of the literally metal seat frame like pillars, and they'll sell the ticket. Literally, it'll be right in front of you, but they'll sell the ticket anyway.
As a lifelong Detroit Tiger fan, I'm very familiar with the steel pillars. Tiger Stadium had them everywhere because they built the second level on top of the first level many years after it was built. So lots of I missed a home run because of one of those damn pillars once, and I'll never do it again. But when I'm walking around Fenway Park, taking in the Fenway experience, what are a couple of things that I have to do?
You could do it. You could schedule it ahead of time. It's not done every day, but you can do an actual tour of the stadium. They take you actually behind the Green Monster. You could do that. There's a lot of history. It's a small stadium. The biggest thing is right outside of the stadium. All the shops gift shops and a lot of memorabilia. And there's a lot of players, usually it's past players that'll show up for like free autograph sessions. They'll sign like, pictures. They don't charge you anything. But it's a small stadium. It's the outsides of it. You don't really know it's a stadium because you're kind of walking right by it. A lot of history.
Are they going to let me over to sign the pesky pole even if I'm not seating in the area?
If you get there early enough, yeah, it's a risk. Especially if you're wearing like Detroit stuff.
Oh, I'm wearing it. No, don't misunderstand. I'm going to buy a lot of Boston Red Sox stuff that day. Yeah. Because that's what I do, but I'll be wearing Detroit Tigers stuff and I'll be very loud and proud as we lose 8-3.
Yeah.
Yeah. William, can you give everybody a little bit of an outlay of the town of Saugerties, as I've never heard of it before? Can you tell us a little bit about the town?
Yeah, so it's a small town. I think we're about 45 minutes south of Albany. It's famous for being the site of Woodstock 94. It's just a basic small town.
Oh, so it's not there anymore. I mean, they wiped that sucker off the mat, right?
No, that was 99. No, that was 99.
You're thinking of Limp Bizkit in 99. Yeah.
No.
I'm thinking about the documentary I just watched on Netflix a couple of months ago. So this is 94. Well, I never heard of it. So who is the headlining act of Woodstock 94?
Metallica. I think the Red Hot Chili Peppers, 9 Inch Nails.
Good
I was
stuff.
12 years old. So good memory.
Yeah. Rudy, how old were you in 1994?
Somewhere around the same age.
That's great.
Yeah.
William, you said that you got the itch to play baseball again while you were watching your son's Little League game. Once you suited up and got on that field with those Little League players, how do you fare against them?
Well, I didn't play with the Little League players.
Come on. You should have said like 178 home runs that season.
Like, what?
What year are you guys mainly sticking to for the rule set?
So I think we're going to do 1864, 1865, and 1895.
Oh. What are the differences between 64 and 65?
As far as I know, the only difference is there's no more catching it on the bound. So everything is on the fly, except if it's a foul ball. So a foul ball can still be an out on the bound.
So as far as 95 goes, I just recently, as of last year, got exposed to 84, and we've talked to some 84, a lot of 84 players on the podcast. We did talk to some West Coast 86 players. 95, can you tell us the difference between the mid 80s and the mid 90s in the rule sets?
Not without looking right away.
That's good. That's fine. I was just curious off the top of your head. No, I'm not. This isn't a test.
Jeez, Barrow.
Do you have a catcher?
We do. We have a couple catchers, yes.
And how big is the catcher's glove in 1895?
Bobby, how big would you say that glove is that we're going to use?
Not sure. It's like an oven mitt.
I was about to say that you just took the. I was like, is it? I think we're talking about like an oven mitt, like really large mitten.
It's the Shoeless Joe like 1912 edition glove, the reproduction. But we also have a couple vintage gloves that I think are from like the 30s and 40s that would fit the requirements.
Yeah.
So once again, you can go to the Saugerties website. That's Saugerties, SAUGERTIES, VBBC.org. That is their official website. You'll see their uniform right at the top. It is sharp. It is black with a black shield with the very optically pleasing S in the middle of the shield. You can see it a mile away. And then they have these gold buttons around it. It looks amazing. Are we going white pants and black knee-high socks with this?
No.
Doing black pants with black socks with
Yeah.
the white stripes.
I like it.
Yeah, that's better than what I thought. Okay. And they are the Saugerties Vintage Baseball Club. Rudy, do you have any more questions for these gentlemen before we release them back to their lives as they prepare for their inaugural season? The first game for Saugerties is Saturday, May 20th against the Delhi Polecats in Hamden. That's a good way to start off a career of a club. Rudy, do you have any questions?
I don't have anything, fellas. It was a pleasure to meet you. I'm always excited to see new clubs popping up, and I really wish you all the best of luck this season and a prosperous season and forward to many more. So best of luck to y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yeah,
You were great. Good luck on the season.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. And so as we transition, you know what time it is right now, don't you, Rudy?
I do. It's my favorite part.
Little Ham says it's time to rock and roll.
This is your Roller Out the Barrel news break for Sunday, July 7th, 1867. I'm Jonathan McLean. Dateline, Philadelphia. The great game of baseball, played for recreation and innocent amusement, is in full swing. The Athletic Baseball Club of Philadelphia took on the Atlantic Baseball Club of Trenton, New Jersey. With many faithful spectators in attendance at the grounds of New Jersey's capital, the teams appeared evenly matched. Then the game started. The Athletics scored 32 runs in the first 4 innings and never looked back. Final score, Athletic Club 66, Atlantic 8. In other game news, the Keystone Baseball Club defeated the Quaker City Club 42-37 in a 5-hour game, while the Geary Baseball Club beat the Star Baseball Club 34-18. For anyone looking for some not-so-innocent amusement, the Reverend Dr. Landis will be giving his sermon on When a Woman is a Fool, this evening at the corner of 13th and Girard Avenue. The length of the lecture isn't known quite yet, but one member of the fair sex said that she hoped she would only have to look at his face for another 15 to 20 minutes. In other news, James Wolbert received serious burns after a friend put a lit pack of firecrackers into his pocket as a joke. The attempt at humor between friends seemed to backfire as Wolbert was heard to remark, "I don't like you because you're going to get me killed." I'm Jonathan McLean, and this has been your Roller Out the Barrel news break.
Oh, Jonathan McLean. You know, the best part about that is the gentleman who does it. I don't know if he wants to be known or not, so we don't say who that is.
No, it's a secret for us.
It's Jonathan McLean, or McLean. There's a lot of Die Hard and Bruce Willis Easter eggs in those, and he does that for us. You guys don't get those mostly, but we do, and we love them. But I will say, the information he's giving you, that's accurate. He's not making that stuff up. So when you hear a score of a game from that date, this gentleman is all about the history, and he would not come on here with be giving you false information. So that's just something you should know, and I fully appreciate that segment. And who knows how long it's going to go, but it just lasted one more week, and I'm all a giddy. When he stops doing it, we're just going to replay. We're just going to keep replaying the ones that we have.
Yeah. We're all the better for it because of it. And it's just classic. But hey, Scott is here. I'm going to
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Oh, man.
As we're bringing in our guest, it's Scott Martino from the Fair Plays Baseball Club of Talbot County in Maryland. So, Rudy, when I think I've told this story once on the podcast before, I had family. Well, I still have family out in Wilmington, Delaware, and in Elkton, Maryland, and they are separated only by a bridge. So I went out there on a summer vacation one year when I was in high school, early years of high school, maybe freshman. And we went to a restaurant on the water called the Tap Room and had outstanding seafood. It might be the first time in my life I actually had like real seafood, and it changed my life. It changed my life so much that my mom bought me a shirt from the place.
Yeah.
And I showed up to my school pictures in that shirt. So on picture day. Now I don't remember if I planned it. I can't give myself that much credit.
Okay.
I probably didn't, because I probably wasn't even aware it was picture day. But when my mom got the school pictures back, there I am with the Tap Room with a crab holding a bottle of beer, I believe, t-shirt. And needless to say, she was not happy about that situation. But thanks to Vintage Baseball, sometime in the very near future, I'll be heading back to the Tap Room, if it still exists, as I go out to the East Coast. Rudy, please introduce our guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Talbot Fair Plays, as I like to call them, they're called by many things. A great club, great man. Scott Martino, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Scott, you play with a team, a club that we have not had anyone on from the Fair Plays. Is that what everybody refers to them, Rudy, as the Talbot Fair Plays?
Well, I mean, I know there's like the Fair Plays of Talbot, things like and of such and referencing the names. I've always, every time I've played against them and had the pleasure of sharing the field, I've always referred to them as the Talbot Fair Plays. But that's just me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Scott,
that's accurate.
Go ahead.
That's accurate. Talbot Fair Plays. We'll answer to just about anything. So yeah.
Scott, what is your vintage baseball nickname?
Tin Can.
Tin Can. That's a good one.
I feel like there's a story there. Can we get into that?
Really, when I first started, we had a couple practices before our first game, my first year, and basically our captain at the time basically told anybody knew that you had the 3 practices to figure out what your nickname was going to be, or they got to tell you what the nickname was going to be. At the time I was working for Coca-Cola, and Tin Can got brought up, and I went, okay, that's fine. And that's about it. No real big story, unfortunately.
So when we hear feedback from the people we have on the show as guests, they always talk about how in the very beginning they were nervous because these players in vintage baseball aren't used to just being interviewed. And then after a little while, the nerves go away and they have a normal conversation. Scott, you're a big New York Mets fan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to play. I'm going to get you in the right frame of mind. I'm going to get you in the mood for this interview. We're going to wipe away all the butterflies if they exist.
Oh, no.
We're going to do word association. I'm going to throw, Rudy, you can play this too if you want. I'm going to throw out the name of a New York Met, and you're just going to tell me a word or two that you, as a New York Met fan, would describe them.
Okay.
Here we go. Rudy, are you going to play? Are we going to go back and forth on this?
Yeah, sure. Yes, let's do it.
Okay. Bobby Valentine.
Character. He was very interesting to watch, and I think he was a good manager. Just he was quite the character, though.
Okay. Darryl Strawberry.
One of the first people I ever watched growing up playing. Always just, I always thought he had a sweet swing, to be honest.
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
Mookie Wilson.
Smile. That's all you ever see from him. You'd never see him not smiling.
Nice. Doc Gooden.
Oh man. K.
Yeah.
I mean, not much more you can say about him. Just one of the best.
Nice.
To watch.
Yes.
Justin Verlander.
Hired gun.
You took
hasn't even played yet. Went on the disabled list right away.
Yeah.
Rudy?
God, I can't stand how connected we are because I was going to say Max Scherzer, but
That'd be about the same response.
Exactly.
Tommy Herr.
Before my time.
Good.
Rudy?
City Field.
Very nice. I got to go there for the first time last season. It was impressive, especially the rotunda with the Jackie Robinson rotunda was really cool to see.
Wally Backman.
Short and stout. I remember watching him play in 86. Just always hunched over, it looked like.
Okay, I don't want this to take a turn, but I can't do this game without saying it. The World Baseball Classic.
Interesting. I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it this year just because I'm on the road a lot.
Okay.
But from what it seemed like, it went very well, and I'm not against it, to be honest.
He's not okay.
You're talking about it as a baseball fan, but let's talk about the World Baseball Classic as a Mets fan.
I mean, so I knew that like asking a Met fan about the World Baseball Classic and with Edwin Diaz going out would be a mixed bag, but I mean,
Yeah.
I was hoping.
Honestly, that could have happened to him pitching in a spring training game. He might not have been as excited and jumped up and down as much, but what's to say that wouldn't have happened in the first game of the season if he got excited and it happened again?
Barrel roller. We have a reasonable Mets fan with us.
No, we have to dig deeper. He's not reasonable. There's no way. There's no way. There's some unreasonable thoughts somewhere about something in it's
all the years of
easy.
heartbreak have brought me to this point.
I love it.
I'm a hard knock sports fan. I'm a Mets fan and a Buffalo Bills fan. So
oh wow.
So I know how it feels to have your heart torn out a lot.
That is true. Scott, time to talk about vintage baseball. Who is the captain of the Fair Place?
Last season I was. We've had a few different captains. I'm actually turning most of the stuff, the administrative part, back over to our old captain, Joe Jordan, Double Dip. Just because I've been on the road a lot and just trying to make sure things don't fall through the cracks. But for the past 5-6 seasons, I have been.
Sounds like you got fired.
No, it was my choice. That's my story.
Scott, take us back to not just the beginning of vintage baseball. I want to go back further than that. There's a part, a segment, I guess you could call it, something we used to talk about all the time on the podcast that we kind of gotten away from, and that's my fault. That people have been asking for it to come back. True statement. Scott, your earliest memories of playing baseball were what?
Little League. Growing up in at that time we were living just outside of Middletown, New York. Little town called Wurtsboro, New York, and played Little League for the first time, and actually my team was the Mets. And the 2 seasons I played there, we won 2 games each season.
Yes. Love that.
Now we just had a gentleman on from Saugerties Vintage Baseball Club, William Quigley, who was an excellent Little League player in his 40s.
He's gonna hear that.
Scott, you say you started with Little League, but you didn't. You started playing organized baseball with Little League. I want to go back farther than that. When you're in the neighborhood, getting together with the kids in the neighborhood playing baseball, what did that look like?
we lived in a little, basically a trailer park. So it was, line up on the street and hope you didn't hit anybody's car.
Yeah.
Now you didn't have 18 kids where you played, so you had to play with less kids, which means you had to modify rules for whatever you could come up with. So talk about some of the modifications to the rules you had to do to suit the number of kids you had.
Oh man, you're really going back.
Jeez.
Man,
We are vintage. We're vintage,
Yeah.
brother.
Man, I'm having a hard. Probably
Did
if
you
you
have
trying to remember,
did
like
you
if sorry, like if you hit one of the cars, maybe it was an out. It's been a while since I've really thought about that, but I think that was one of them. Like if you hit someone's car, it was an out.
now if you hit somebody's car on a bounce, was that an out?
I think if you hit the car at all, it was an out. To be honest, because we didn't want anybody coming out and yelling at us.
Right.
Try to keep the
So
neighbors happy a little bit.
So
Yeah.
it was the neighbors who demanded you got an out if you hit a car.
It sounds like he was a reasonable child.
Yeah, probably. I remember we weren't playing baseball, but we were playing in our yard, just kicking the ball around, and our neighbor, the neighbor to that was on the other side of my house, would threaten to throw water on us if we hit their house with the ball and all
Oh my God.
out the window. I do remember that.
So you go on, you play Little League. How far in organized baseball do you play?
I played up until I think it was seventh or eighth grade. Um, in middle school was the last year I played organized baseball.
And then, so after organized baseball, when's the next time that you pick up a bat with bad intentions for a ball?
Vintage baseball, 08, I think was the first year that I played vintage.
What was that club you started with?
Talbot Fairplace.
Oh, so you're a lifelonger. Is that 16 years?
Somewhere around there now. I think it was 08. I lose track at this point, to be honest.
15 years. This is your 15th year, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't do the math around here. Rudy does it.
That's Rudy's job.
Math.
Let Rudy do the math.
Yep. So you've been playing vintage baseball for 38 years.
Sounds about right. I'm not your brother.
Yeah, right. How did you get hooked up with the Fairplace? Like when you started?
The winter before I started playing, I ran into I had known one of the guys on the team, Brian Lynch, we call him Pick. We were at the Y. I think we were playing pickup basketball, and in between games, we were standing around talking, and he was talking to another guy that he played with, and I asked him what they were talking about. He explained it to me, and I said, "Hey, in the spring, let me know when you guys start up. I'd like to come out." And I tell everybody I went to my first practice, and I was hooked. Been there since.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long to be hooked. I was hooked in about 10 seconds. Rudy, you were in a different situation because you were practically coming out of the womb with a ball in your hand. But when you see vintage baseball for the first time, and God, I found it way too late in my life. But I sat down to watch. I just wanted to sit down and watch a game. I got invited out to watch, I believe it was Jeff Rawl in the Bay City Independence. And I sat down and they started and I was like, oh no, I am no longer watching this game. I am studying because I'm doing this. This is something I'm going to do. And I was lucky enough to get on the Bay City Independence because back in that day, that it wasn't as diluted in the vintage baseball scene, and getting a spot on a club was quite difficult. So I got lucky to get a spot, I guess And they were not lucky I got a spot. I will tell you that. but yeah, it did not take long for me. I did not care about the catching the ball with the glove. Scott, you're a truck driver. You didn't give a crap about that ball hitting your hand, did you?
No.
Oh, we're truck drivers. Rudy, I know I make fun of you and your Seata, but you got a couple of truck drivers right here.
Well, I do moisturize a lot, and I do make sure, the ball stings. I'm just going to let me ask this question. How many swings did it take for the fair plays to be like, no, you got a spot, you're done? Like you go out there and you take your first couple of swings. Was it like, did you crush the second one, the third one? Where did they?
I started off from the first game that I played after that.
Yeah.
So I think they might have been just short on guys, but I'm going to say I did good.
Yeah.
38 years of playing vintage baseball, you for the same club. I don't question his math, folks. You must have some stories. You must have some memorable experiences, maybe at certain events. These vintage baseball podcast episodes that we do, we treat them like a legacy piece. So this is the Scott Martino story. If the Scott Martino story was to talk about his best moments in vintage baseball experiences on and off the field, what are some of those stories?
Oh, wow. First one that comes to mind is the first Gettysburg fest. Well, that was a festival, but at the time, the first year was actually a tournament, and winning that the first year that they had it with the club that we had, and the captain of our team at the time, Curly, who passed away a year after that, a week before the second Gettysburg Festival. That's probably one of the first things that I remember is playing that at Gettysburg the first year that they had the festival or the tournament that it was. Other times it's just a bunch of the guys that you meet from different clubs, whether it be from out west. My first time going to the Ohio Cup a couple years ago, playing with, I don't even remember how many different teams I played with that weekend.
Yeah.
All the different guys you meet out there. Obviously going to Silver Ball up in Rochester, New York. That's a blast every year to go up there. And then hanging out with just the guys that on my team when we go to Rochester or we go to Gettysburg camping and just having a blast. And man, there's so much that I could talk about that I'm not even sure where to start, to be honest.
You said that you lost the captain a week before the second Gettysburg tournament. Did I hear that right?
Yes. On the field. We were playing the Brooklyn Atlantics at our field. They came down, and he had a heart attack on the field, and his funeral was actually the weekend of the festival. So obviously we didn't go.
The next time you guys take the field, and I'm sorry if we're going too far with this subject matter.
Oh, you're good.
The next time you guys take the field, how hard is that to concentrate on playing a baseball game with that happening?
Yeah, I think it was really difficult. So I think the next time we actually took the field after that was the Silver Ball tournament up in Rochester, if I remember correctly. Because that was only a few weeks after Gettysburg that we went up there, and that was I remember it being tough, but it's been, yeah.
Wow. I mean, and that's that's incredibly sad and unfortunate. And I feel like we talked about this in a previous episode about Paul Salamoni, and we talk about like how the club, like that's when the club becomes more than a baseball team. You know what I mean? That's when like
Oh, yeah.
the community really, you see the strength of our community because, you know, there's that shared loss and then you lean on each other for support. And clearly, I mean, that's exactly what has happened with the Fair Plays, in my opinion. Is like you guys are one of my favorite clubs to play. Whenever we go to Gettysburg and we get a chance to play you guys, I'm always incredibly happy. So I'm glad that the club was, you know, strong enough to be there to support one another and continue on. And I mean, you mentioned the Rochester. How many times have y'all won the silver ball?
The Fair Plays have won. Shoot.
Is it so many you've lost track? Is that what we're dealing with here?
Well, there's a couple things. There's one year we were actually co-champions with Flemington because the championship game got rained out. And then there was three, I believe it's four other wins that we have.
Wow.
And then I also played one year. Talbot Fair Plays didn't go up, but Matt Bartnicki put together a travel team.
Yes.
And part of that also won it. So
wow.
Yeah. So since I've started playing, I've been to Rochester every year that the tournament's gone on.
That's fantastic.
All right, back to the game. Bobby Bonilla.
Luckiest guy to get paid forever.
How do you celebrate Bobby Bonilla Day? Do you just ignore it and just want to get the day over with because you know you're going to hear about it 1,000 times that day? Or
just shake my head and laugh at that point. It just cracks me up every year when I see it.
Vince Coleman.
Knucklehead.
Do you got one, Rudy? Or should I keep going?
How do you feel about Pete Alonso?
Good one.
Oh, I love watching Pete play. Watching him at the home run derby, just like a big kid.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other word for it.
That's exactly. Yep.
Mike Piazza throwing a bat at Roger Clemens.
Too bad he missed.
Oh. Oh. All right, Rudy, last one.
Mr. Met.
Just it is what it is. I mean, every team's got to have a mascot.
No,
and that's what they came up with. I don't even know.
No, they don't. Do you have a picture of you with Mr. Met?
I do not.
I went to a Washington Nationals game last year. Why? Because I was in town. And I walked into the stadium and walked right into the arms of Theodore Roosevelt. So that was a big thrill for me. He just was there. I didn't have to go.
The loser of every presidential race in that stadium.
I think he won once. It was the worst presidential race in the history that I saw that night. It was the first game that what's his name? Juan Soto came back as a Padre. It was they had a great steak sandwich. Anyway. Oh no, you know what I had? I didn't have I was thinking about Philadelphia. They had an incredible lobster roll I had at the Washington Nationals game. So when you go to the Washington Nationals game, have a lobster roll, go to the team store. It's really good. And then leave because the stadium is okay and the team sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Scott, you've played for 38 years. You played in a lot of vintage baseball events. Talk to us about some of the events that you have yet to play in that you would like to attend?
Oh, the one in Michigan, is it the World Vintage Baseball Class? I forget the exact name of it.
No, it's the Vintage Baseball Festival. I'm just kidding.
No.
Yeah, it is the World's Tournament at Greenfield Village.
Yeah, that's it. Always, we got invited to it one year, but it always ends up as the same weekend as Silver Ball.
Yep.
And we like Silver Ball.
You can't go without Silver Ball 1 year, Scott. 1 year. The museum has the JFK car in it, for crying out loud. It has the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Well then, okay then.
I mean, Barrel Roller, asking him to go without Silver Ball is like asking Bay City to go without the World's Tournament. That's why you have so many of the same clubs, or the Capitals to go without the World Tournament.
Rumor is Bay City'd like to go to Silver Ball. Unofficially, that's just a rumor. But I do believe that Rudy, am I correct that Droverton is going to Silver Ball this year?
That's the rumor. I can neither confirm nor deny. And so, yeah.
I thought it was official, but I could be wrong.
The only club that I know that's not from the area that is constantly attending Silver Ball, well, there's two. There's the Akron Blackstockings and the Cleveland Blues.
No, there's one from Michigan. It's the Northville Eclipse Baseball Club that goes out to
That's
Silver
amazing.
Ball.
Yeah,
They
also
love it.
The other one is I think's been there every year that they've had this Silver Ball is Woodstock. I think they're out of Canada.
From Canada, yeah.
Yeah, I have tried since the beginning of this podcast to get a hold of somebody from that team to be on the podcast and have come up with nothing. I haven't even gotten a no out of them. I just can't get a hold of them. You know what they should do 1 year, Rudy, is all of the teams that play at Silver Ball should come and do the World's Tournament, and all the teams that do the World's Tournament should go do Silver Ball.
Hey, you seem like a man with a platform and you know some people. I bet you could make that happen.
No way. No way. I got enough going on, and I got enough no's in my life to try to turn into yeses.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just recently dealt a very emotional no. So I'm on the down low right now, trying to find a yes for some stuff. But Scott, what have you heard as an East Coaster that's never been to the World's Tournament? What have you heard about that?
The teams aren't as good as the East Coast. No, just kidding.
No, that was the perfect answer.
A whole lot of hate mail there.
That was the best answer.
I know the rules are different, but you play by whatever rules that tournament or that team sets up. So I don't have any problem with that. It's just I just like to see different teams and meet different people at these events like this. I just always have a good time at them. So just a different festival that I haven't been to that I'd like to sometime.
Did you know they have the chair Abraham Lincoln was shot in at the museum at that event?
No, I did not.
It's a true statement. They also have Thomas Edison's last breath.
That's not true.
That's real. Look it up. Hey, all right. Look it up.
Okay. Yeah. You guys want to look at an empty bottle? Here you go.
It's a test tube.
Oh, okay.
Look it up.
Okay, I'm sure it's
Scott, tell us about the home field where you play for the Fair Plays at.
It is patch of grass just behind, like, not right behind, but just down the road from a 7-Eleven in Easton, Maryland. Just basically a wide open field that we found and played there every year since I've started. Pretty flat, drains well, never really have a problem with it flooding, so we can't play. It could rain till 6 o'clock in the morning, and we could play at 11 o'clock with no problems.
Wow.
7-Eleven's recently been bought out by Speedway. Is it still named a 7-Eleven over there?
Last time I was by it, yes.
All right. I don't know why that was irrelevant. It's just something I know because I deliver
All
beer.
the useless facts in the head, right?
There you go.
That's what I get told.
Scott, your season coming up here. What's your schedule looking like? I'm going to look it up as we go. Is there a website for the team?
Not a particular website, but it is on Facebook. I think we open May 7th. Yeah, we open May 7th. We don't have as heavy a schedule as we have had in past years. May 7th, we open with Elkton at their place. Then we got Brandywine in a few weeks after that, and Lewis, which is out of Delaware. Another good team. And then, of course, we've got Gettysburg and Silver Ball. And in June, we're also doing a little festival with Rising Sun at a winery. They do it I think they do it twice a year where they bring in a couple of clubs and it's like a whole weekend. Yep. So we're doing that one day with them in June. So
once again, we're seeing a limited schedule. Looks like 7 dates. You can find the fair plays on the Facebook, just like Scott said. 7 dates through the summer. Does that mean that you'll be partaking in some barnstorming with some other clubs, or do you bleed red and white?
No, I've done that plenty of times. Mostly this year, it'll depend on my schedule with work when I'm home, if I'm able to do that. I've had plenty of clubs call me up night before and be like, "Hey, can you come play?" And I'll be like, "Oh, where at?" And I'll drive to Jersey, or I've done that in the past if I'm home and have no problem doing that. But mostly it's going to depend on work this year, as if I can do any of that.
Well, scientifically, you do bleed red, so you were wrong. Look it up. Scott, we've passed the vintage baseball portion of this interview as we get to know you a little bit better, but is there anything that you'd like to say out to the vintage baseball community, as all of them and their little brothers will be listening to this? Is there any shout outs that you'd like to get so you get better pitches during the season?
No, pitchers just throw at me most of the times.
Nice.
No, I mean, if you can, come out to a game. Come watch a game. If a team, or if you're interested, contact a team and ask them what their availability is, and if you want to play, jump out there. It's a lot of fun, and just get out and have fun. Meet some new people.
Can you tell us what do the fair plays do for recruiting? Is it just word of mouth are you hoping for, or do you actually have something in your back pocket for recruiting?
Honestly, last couple of years have been tough. Mostly it's been word of mouth. We haven't had the best of luck lately, which is one of the reasons why we have such a limited schedule, is just making sure that we have enough guys when we do play.
Sure.
But any tips I'll take for recruiting, just we've had a tough time lately.
Rudy, do you remember the roller on the barrel policy and how to recruit?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be go to your local softball establishment where softball is being played in your full vintage baseball uniform. And then while the games are going on, heckle or make comments very loudly about how you could do that very same thing, but without a glove. And then goad a team into challenging you to a vintage baseball match after their softball match, and then thus generating interest and intrigue, and then hopefully that would equal a recruitment to the club. Was I correct, Barrel Roller?
Yes, and you can be as brash as you want to be, because that's all in character, I would think.
I like that idea. Though one thing about that is, like, the last couple years, I've actually played softball with Joe Double Dip at a softball league, and that's actually a pretty interesting idea. And we've tried to get some of the guys from that to come out, but no one's. They're either all hardcore softball, where everything is every tournament that they can go to, they go to, or they're just out there to drink beer and have fun for a couple hours and then go home.
Yeah.
Because the key is to vintage baseball recruitment. When people hear about it, they're like, whatever. But when they see the uniforms and they see baseball being played, it's been proven time and time again. Scott, you said it earlier, happened to me. You fall in love. But
Yeah.
you have to bring it to them, because they won't come to it. So that's our little policy on what should be done. And to this date, no one's done it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I worry that I would take that method and then get destroyed and injured, and then they would be like, yeah, that's why we're not going to play. But no, that's just me. But I admire the strategy of shrinking the schedule. You know how many clubs struggle to get players, and they're like, nope, keeping that same schedule, and then they have to cancel and cancel and cancel. Shrinking the schedule down is a fantastic strategy, and the Capitals have done that in the past. So
yeah, that's the last thing I hate, having to cancel games.
Yes.
I mean, weather, that's understandable. You can't play in torrential downpours, but
it's
when you have a guy when you have a guy cancel, do you show up on his front yard, the lawn, kick his kids' toys around until he comes out and goes to the game?
No, I just grab his wife and go to a date.
Nice.
No.
Nice. Well done. Scott, you were a driver for Coca-Cola for many years. I'm curious. I know that about you. I'm curious as to why you don't do that anymore after, I believe it was 19 years with the company. Is that right?
I was with Coke for about 11.
Oh, check the math. That was Rudy's math.
Yeah. Well, we'll blame it on his brother.
There you
go. Yeah, just I left Coke and I got another job working construction, basically installing movable partition walls. I did that for about 3 years, and then March of last year is when I started driving over the road. So,
are you driving over the road for the same construction, or is this a different company in different situations?
This is a different company. That company pretty much went out of business, is why I ended up doing this now.
So over the road, how many days of the week are you on the road?
I'm usually out for at least 2 weeks before I go home. I usually stay out about 2 weeks.
So you're driving coast to coast, border to border, is that right?
No, I've been to the West Coast once, but mostly I stay between Kansas and the East Coast. Right now I'm in Massachusetts. And about as far south as I've gone is Nashville.
So being on the road merits like staying occupied, and I associate that with listening to whether it be music or podcasts. What are you listening to while out on the road?
I've gotten into using the audio app.
Yeah.
Or I have Sirius XM. If a Mets game's on, I usually have that on lately. During the NFL season, I listen to the football games. As far as podcasts, there's a couple different ones on audio that I've gotten into.
Say it, Scott. Say it.
Obviously yours.
Say
of
it,
course.
damn it. Thank you.
But I like some of the history ones. There's one American Scandal.
That's a good one.
American History Tellers. And then there's another one. It's about the Old West that I listen to too. So
Nice.
So kind of a variety, and then a couple of different audio books. I like some of the autobiographies. Bryan Cranston's last one was really good to listen to.
Nice.
He's a character, and that was really enjoyable to listen to.
Back when you were driving for Coke, when you were delivering, were you delivering to the big stores, or were you making deliveries to the smaller stores?
Mostly I did big stores, but I also did some of the small stores every now and then.
Do you have any stories that you recall from any deliveries mishaps that happened while you were working?
Got to the plant one morning. I usually started out about 3 to 3:30 a.m. My first delivery was 4:30, and I had about an hour drive. Opened up the back end and already had pallets that were falling over from the loading. Walked inside and told the night crew was still there. Usually they were gone, and the warehouse manager was like, "No, the pallets are all good." I walked him right outside and showed him. He went, "Oh no." But yeah,
This is so I can actually Rudy should be making fun of truck drivers right now, because I can definitely feel your pain on this, and I can actually tell a quick story that if they listen to this podcast I might get in trouble. But so you just described what I do. I got to go in early. I actually still have about an hour to my first stop. I deliver Budweiser, and we were having issues because where our trucks would dock to unload from the day before, and then they would drive them around to the other side of the warehouse to load, and then they would drive them back and park them. And so those young kids would, every which way, pallets would wind up all screwed up like that. And then sometimes a driver wouldn't get done the day before, so that beer still has to go out the next day. So they would throw that beer on the back of my truck and load me right up, but it wouldn't be in order. So I wouldn't be able to get to like my first and second and third stop, because my 9th and 10th stop and 11th stop are right there in front of it. So the last time that happened, I went home sick. I opened up the door of my truck, saw they did that, turned around and just walked out. And the supervisor asked where you're going. And I said, the only thing I can legally say right now is that I don't feel well and I'm going home. And he said, "Oh, they screwed up your truck again, didn't they?" And I said, "I'm sorry. I'm not feeling well. I have to go home now."
Yeah, another story I can tell you is I had a full trailer, 23 pallets all the way to the back door, and got to my first stop, and I only had 2 stops on this truck. So half the truck was going to one stop, half the truck was going to another stop. And the receiver goes, "Yeah, we're not taking that."
Oh no.
And I'm like, "What?" And then having to go to a second stop and move the whole first stop to get the other stop off. Stuff like that.
Then you got a phone call. That said, you can go back to that first stop and deliver now. Did you get that phone call?
No, but I went back they were in the same town. I went back to the first stop trying to get them to take it, and they still wouldn't. So I had to take it back to the plant.
Oh my gosh.
So Rudy, the way you feel right now is the way that I feel when you start talking theater.
Okay, number one. No, first off, one of the dumbest things ever said, and there's a lot of dumb things said on this show. Rudy should Rudy should start making fun of truckers. What the hell? Hell no, absolutely not. I'm good.
Yeah, that'd be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was a terrible, I was wrong on that one. What was it? Was there another? You said one. Is there a two?
I mean, no, that was just that just hit me right in the head. I was like, what? No, I love life. No, thank you. I will not.
Well, usually the number one's followed by a number two, but that's okay, Rudy. Keep adding. Fiata. I was just. It's nice to talk to a truck driver for a change. Worst you've been stranded because your truck broke down, Scott.
Actually, I was working for Coke and I was delivering on the Eastern Shore. I was about an hour away from our plant and the turbo in my truck blew out and still had 2 more stops on a Saturday.
Oh no.
I said, screw it. I'm still getting these other stops off and drove about 25 miles an hour down the road to get the other
they
2
hate
stops
when you do
off
that.
Until they brought a tow truck to tow me back.
Oh my gosh.
Because they wanted to tow another truck to me and then finish my stop. I was like, by that time, my day's going to be shot. I'm like, nope, I'll keep moving. Just send the tow truck to me at my last stop.
Yeah, they hate when they want you to get all the work done and they jam you, and then when something like that happens, they are not happy that you just drove with no turbo 25 miles an hour.
Oh, I told my boss I was doing it, and he's like, what? And it was a Saturday too, so.
Oh, by the way, the record for the worst year in New York Mets history was 1899. They lost 120 times. I'm just saying. Scott, are the Mets going to the playoffs this year?
Playoffs, yes.
Do you like having an owner that just spends a buttload of money on the team and doesn't care about the ramifications?
Yes, I do.
You're in no way going to make the playoffs, right? I mean, you say you are.
Why would you say that?
Why? I'll tell you why. Because they got a couple of fossils leading the pitching rotation. You lost your closer, and you got no money to go out and do anything about it.
Okay, so we're done with the podcast now?
Oh, no.
I think the Mets make the playoffs, but it does depend a lot on health, like it does for any team.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't for many teams because the Detroit Tigers could go through the entire season being healthy as could be and have no shot at making the playoffs.
The Detroit Tigers don't have the roster that the Mets have, and
they did. That's their roster.
Exactly. I am a fan of baseball. I follow and support the Yankees, but I do appreciate everything the Mets are doing, and the Cohen tax is like, just whatever. I want a championship, and he wants to make it happen. And so I'm excited. I believe the Mets will make the playoffs this year.
But I also like the way that he's doing it, where he came in and he said, yes, I want to contend now, but I also want to build the farm system.
Yeah.
And I think they've started doing that too, where they've got some good prospects coming up.
Well, they didn't hire Dave Dombrowski, did they? Once you hire Dave Dombrowski, you don't have a farm system anymore because he rapes it. The Red Sox and the Tigers, and what is the other team? There's a couple other teams on he's blazed a nice playoff trail and then left them in the dust to squander all of their assets away, and they end up, I don't know, like the current day Detroit Tigers.
Someone's not bitter about anything, are they?
Oh my God.
I'm very bitter about this, Scott. And to see an owner come along and spend that kind of money to make sure that you guys are going to go to the playoffs hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings because it's going to be another cold, long, dreary summer of Detroit Tiger baseball, and I'm jealous. And I do not wear jealousy well, Scott. I don't wear it well at all.
It didn't show.
Rudy wears it well, though, I think, because you can never tell.
Well, he's just always jealous of his brother, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
You keep bringing up his brother, and we're going to see how well he wears jealousy.
Well, that was a fun podcast. See y'all later.
Scott, hey, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for talking Fair Plays Vintage Baseball Club of Talbot County in Maryland. It's in Maryland. Where's your best seafood place?
Oh man, on the Eastern Shore, they're all over the place. There's oh my goodness, I can't think it. I'm not a big.
Have you ever been to the tap room?
Where's that at?
I don't know. It's in Elkton, Maryland, right on the water.
Elkton?
Well, it used to be. That would be.
That's probably about an hour and a half from me. That's a little north. That's up near Philly.
Well, it's worth it for the t-shirts.
We're more down on the Eastern Shore, heading towards Ocean City.
Okay, so Scott Martino wants to go out and get the best seafood dinner. I want you to tell me where you're going, and I want you to tell me what you're getting.
Well, first, I'm not getting seafood, to be honest. I'm not.
What?
Personally, I'm not a seafood fan. I didn't grow up in Maryland, so I don't. All the people in Maryland are going to really hate me for this, but I'm not a big crab fan either. So
it's difficult for me. I'll have like I'll do like a fish and chips, but like lobster, crab, anything with like a claw that I got to break and then like pull. It's just too much work. I'm not into it.
It's too much work for not enough meat. I'll just take the steak.
What the hell is going on around here? Rudy, in a vegetarian lifestyle that you are around,
yeah,
where does seafood fall on that?
Seafood is more acceptable in the vegetarian lifestyle that I am currently around.
But I don't care about that. I care about seafood. It's not considered the meat of the sea. I mean, it's good. You can eat it.
No, I mean, no, it's still meat. It's just that my wife is vegetarian, Scott, and my kids are all vegetarian. I am supportive, but I am not. And my wife said the last meat that she actually ate and enjoyed was seafood, and she misses seafood. But
so she won't eat seafood. That's what I was trying to get to. She won't eat
absolutely
seafood.
No.
And you don't like it.
I mean, wow. I'm okay with it. I recognize that it is delicious to some people.
Normal people.
Not me.
Okay, so once again, I'm still just taking that in. I mean, Rudy, what do you eat rice? I mean, what the hell do you eat, man? Scott, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for putting up with our nonsense. Thanks for allowing us to learn more about you and degrade the New York Mets, even though they probably are going to the playoffs this year, and I hate you. And we appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate you guys having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, take it easy out there. And I look forward to hopefully crossing paths with you soon again. It's always a treat, man. I wish you nothing but the best this season. Okay.
Thank you. You guys at Gettysburg?
Not this year. Hopefully next year.
Okay. I just saw the schedule for Gettysburg came out today, and I haven't had a chance to really look at it. So.
Yeah, we couldn't do this year because we had to maintain a prior commitment from last year that we missed. So we had to choose. And so hopefully next year.
All right. Well, we'll run into you guys somewhere along the line.
Absolutely.
Hey, Scott, before you go, I'm going to give you the old pepper. I don't know if you ever listened to any of these silly episodes that we do, but I like to finish with giving you the old pepper. Have you ever heard this segment before, Scott?
I don't think I have.
Damn it, Scott! Say yes. Oh, okay.
I want it to be new and crisp for me.
Oh, geez. All right, let me get up the music. You gotta have music. All right, Scott Martino. Do you believe in UFOs?
No.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Nickelback.
I love Nickelback.
So do I. They put on a hell of a concert. I was in college.
What was the name of the girl you had your first kiss with? First name only, please.
Bev.
What was the first car that you had?
Oh, Toyota Tercel.
If you could have one meal only, one meal, that's it, for every meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pizza.
Oh, while you're over there in the East Coast, why don't you go ahead and build the perfect pizza for us, according to Scott?
Pepperoni, sausage, bacon. I'm good.
Nice.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly.
If you could have a second superpower, what would it
be? Just be Superman.
There it is.
Yeah. All right. Can you name an overrated superhero?
Oh goodness. I don't know. First one that comes to my mind is Star-Lord.
I mean, that's a good answer, but I like it.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
It's a good answer. What is your favorite? Here is a two-part question. What's your favorite beer on tap, and what's your favorite beer in a bottle?
All right. I don't drink beer, but I do rum, Bacardi.
Interview over. No, go ahead.
Just never been a beer guy. Bacardi.
Let me rephrase the question then. Let me set you back up, Scott. Let me set you back up. Scott, when you go to the bar, what is your favorite drink of choice?
Rum and Coke with Bacardi.
When you're sitting on a baseball field enjoying a vintage baseball event, you're not playing, but you're taking a little nip of something. What is it that you're taking a little nip of?
Well, first off, it's sacrilege because I'm going to be playing.
There's time in between games sometimes. There's other teams that got to play.
Probably a pre-mixed Bacardi and Coke from the cooler.
Nice.
And lastly, Scott, can you give us your Mount Rushmore of favorite New York Met players of all time? Your favorite.
My favorite? One, Gary Carter. Oh goodness. Shoot.
The only name that came to mind for this was Gary Carter.
I mean, it's a good first name.
Yeah, that's the first one that comes to my mind. Yeah, honestly. I grew up when I was in Little League. I wanted to be a catcher, and I was watching the Mets, and man, he did it all at that time. I remember watching.
So you don't even care about other people. That's all right, Scott. We'll let it go at Gary Carter. Hell of a haircut. The white man's afro is what he had there. A lot of curly. All right, Scott. Thanks for joining us. What a great sport. Good luck on the season. You take care of yourself, huh, buddy?
You too. Thank you very much for having me.
For the barrel roller, and Tin
whoa,
Can.
whoa.
What?
What are you doing?
I was about to get us out.
We still got to talk about WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. Yes.
As we promised everybody, it is WrestleMania, and we got to talk about. Oh, I had the results right here in front of me, and they're gone. But anyway, let's talk about WrestleMania, and let's go through by match as I pull that up. But I do remember what the first match was. Let me get your thoughts, your quick thoughts, because I know you got to get back to familying and not eating anything except rice. Is rice acceptable? I guess I should ask it.
Yeah, rice is delicious.
It is. I eat a lot of rice. Can't you tell? First match was Brock Lesnar, Omos. Can you just give us a quick thought?
Did not go the way I was anticipating it, but it was a great match. Omos is a big man, but they did a great job. I think the match established Omos as a force and still yet maintained Brock Lesnar as the alpha.
Oh, very diplomatic of you.
Yeah.
I'm not a diplomatic person at all. I think Brock Lesnar is coming to the end of his career, and he shouldn't be beating somebody that's just starting out in his career. But also, Omos sucks. Okay. Next was a 4-way tag team match. You know what? No, they don't have it in order, so we're not going to go in order. But this is a 4-way. This was second night. It was Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. It was Natalya and Shotzi. It was Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and it was Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Who do you dislike the most in that match, Rudy? Who are you just like, oh, geez, they're not good?
Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I just felt like, yeah, I would much rather watch the other teams than them.
I will agree with you on the Chelsea Green. I've always been okay with Sonya Deville. She's always been okay with me. I always think she's not great, but she's not bad. I'll tell you who annoys the hell out of me, though, is Raquel Rodriguez.
Oh, why?
She annoys. I
Is
know
it
that
because
she's big and powerful, but she's not good at
is
being
it because
a
that she
wrestler.
has no character? It's just her smiling and
that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's annoying, but she's also giving away spots by having bad timing and corner looking like something's about to happen when she's not good. That's all I got to say about that.
Needs more work.
Ronda Rousey won as expected because I like Liv Morgan. I'm a big Liv Morgan guy. And she did well in that match too. Anyway, I can't wait to talk about this.
Yeah.
It was Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and
Whoa.
my new favorite wrestler.
Are you serious? Yeah.
He won me over at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He absolutely won me. I am now a big proponent of Gunther. And what a match they put on. They beat the hell out of each other. Rudy, what do you think about it?
I have been a fan of Gunther since he was since he came up in the UK division of WWE as Walter, and I loved him then. I love him now. I do like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I was worried they were going to take the title away from Gunther, but I love everything about Gunther.
Yeah, a great match to watch. There was Bianca Belair against Asuka. I'm a huge Asuka guy. I hate Bianca Belair. I do not think she's another Raquel Rodriguez to me. She's
has not found a character.
Yeah, and she's had the title for a year. I don't understand it. A lot of people like her, so I know I'm on the minority on this one.
No, well, I think
I was rooting for Asuka big time.
I was rooting for Asuka. Bianca Belair was a better wrestler in NXT. Was a better. I liked her. I liked Bianca Belair's work as a heel. I don't like this. she does amazing things. She's really great, but I think Asuka's a better wrestler. Even with the language barrier, I think Asuka would have been a better champion.
Absolutely. Also, then there was the we're talking about the matches in the order of the way that the CBS Sports website has graded them. So we're going from worst to first.
Okay.
And I pretty much disagree with where they just had the Gunther Sheamus McIntyre match, but the Snoop Dogg and the Miz
look,
had a segment on both nights. I hated both of them so much.
As did I.
Obviously the second night fell apart because Shane McMahon tore his quad. Because you shouldn't be wrestling in tennis shoes at 53 years old when you weren't the most fleetest of foot you shouldn't have been doing that. But it was probably as farewell as WWE was selling, and you're never going to see Shane McMahon again. So injury or not.
I actually was like, I groaned when his music hit. I went, are we doing this again? And didn't his dad tear his quads or did something?
Both of them.
Yeah, and he had to sit there with torn quads trying to make a mark work. It's fitting. I mean, whatever. I hope he doesn't. I'm tired of the Shane McMahon thing.
I'm tired of the Miz when he's not in a main storyline as a bad guy. He's a great bad guy.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
But he's like the spokesman of the company, and I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
And then Pat McAfee, the coolness of the Pat McAfee things kind of wore off for me.
Yep.
I mean, the Logan Paul thing, and we'll talk about him in the match coming up, but that hasn't wore off. But the Pat McAfee thing, it's dead to me. And then the George Kittle. Every time they include an NFL player, it looks awful. It's a terrible segment, and I know why they're doing it. Just stop.
Yeah, I agree.
Then there was the Edge Finn Balor Hell in the Cell match. Rudy, go ahead.
Something went wrong in that match for sure, because they zeroed in on Edge. Like, they gave him a tight shot while I guess they made sure that Finn Balor wasn't like too severely bleeding or something like that. But man, Finn Balor is so good. I have really enjoyed Finn Balor, and he came on the radar for me when he was in NXT. I feel like, why are we pushing over 40-year-old Hall of Famers over like guys that should be getting a bigger push?
Well, Finn Balor's pretty old too. He's close to 40, if not.
I would take a 40-year-old Finn Balor over a 40-plus-year-old Edge any day.
I hated the fact. Well, by the way, I'll send you a picture. I have a clean picture of the cut that Finn Balor got on the top of his head while they stopped the match for a while. Yeah. It nasty.
I don't need to see it. You don't need to send that to me. We could.
Okay. But they built that little. I hate this stuff in wrestling when they built a little shelf for him to do a move off of on the side of the.
Yeah.
It was a terrible Hell in the Cell match. They didn't need to do that in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah. I also don't. I feel like, why would you? I don't know. I don't like it when the demon loses, but that's just me.
And this match in no way, shape, or form was better than Gunther
at
Sheamus
all. No.
And McIntyre. No way.
Yeah.
No way. CBS, you were wrong. They have the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes match next. I loved it, and I loved the fact that Roman Reigns won.
I was not expecting it. I am okay with it because I feel like Roman Reigns is probably one of the best heels that the company has produced in a very long time. I love it, and I'm okay with it. I was like, there's got to be a way. There's got to be something better planned ahead for Cody Rhodes to win the championship. But then I was like, what's better than winning it at WrestleMania? I'm going to trust the process. I was okay with it.
Yeah, Roman Reigns always says in the interviews where he's shooting is, hey, we're We're building storylines.
Yeah.
We're not coming to the end. We've still got a ton of storyline to get to. And it's filet mignon, and you just have to deal with it. We're not serving cheeseburgers around here.
It's like literally one of the best stories they've had going in a very long time. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, once the Usos lost the tag team titles, I was like, God, I hope Roman wins. I don't need, I think they put on a hell of a match, though. I think if there were naysayers about Cody Rhodes, I'm not a naysayer. He just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not negative about Cody Rhodes. I would say if you were negative about Cody Rhodes, you have to acknowledge the hell of a match he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was good. I lost my place. Oh, they didn't. What did you think, by the way, as I'm looking for more matches? Did we cover all of them? There's no way we covered all of them. There was Rey Mysterio against Dominic Mysterio. What's your take on that match?
I don't ever watch wrestling in front of my children because of my wife. My wife was like, no, does not need to watch that. That was my son came down, watched it with me, was completely enthralled, lost his mind when Pop Santos Escobar came flying through the ropes. He was like, did you see that guy fly, Dad? Stated that that's what Dominic got because he betrayed his father. And I've never felt so proud in my life. And then he is a huge Bad Bunny fan. He loves Bad Bunny, and he lost his mind when he realized that's who Bad Bunny was. He was like, so I really enjoyed that match. And I was a little angry that they took Rey Mysterio's moment and being inducted into the Hall of Fame and used it to further the story, because I feel like they wouldn't have done that for anybody else. But I know that, like, I feel like I like what they're doing with Dominic.
Yeah, I don't think Dominic's very good without Rhea Ripley, and they know this, obviously. He's nothing. He's terrible. He can wrestle because he's been taught by his father how to wrestle.
Don't give him a mic. Yeah.
No, don't give him a mic. He's not a storyline guy. Everything that you think that Dominic is doing right now is because the people around him are doing it right.
Exactly.
But, he's got room to grow. He's very young, and he's Rey Mysterio's son. So, I feel good about it going forward. I just kind of thought Rey Mysterio was going to lose just to build his son, because I know he doesn't have much left in the tank. So,
yeah,
it'll come. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley match.
That was amazing.
Might have been my favorite match of the night.
Love that match. That was so good. Oh my God. I mean, they did it. I mean, I watched their first match, and well, not their first, I guess maybe, but at the pandemic WrestleMania. And I was like, oh my gosh. And you can watch the documentary, the 24/7 on that, and get a little bit more insight on that. But man, that was like hands down top 2 match of the whole weekend.
It was so violent.
Yeah.
It was right behind McIntyre, Sheamus, Gunther as violent.
Yeah.
Wow. They did great. The rumor is that Charlotte Flair is actually going into bodybuilding. Have you heard that rumor?
I have not.
She cut all that weight because she's going into try that for a little while.
Oh, wow.
There is a tag team match, the Usos against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I assume you're a big Usos guy because you look like you could be their brother. You look like an Uso.
It's that cultural ambiguity I got going on. Nobody really knows.
But you got that big, beautiful smile that they have when they smile. You look like an Uso. Do you acknowledge the bloodline when you're watching these matches?
Of course I acknowledge the blood. I mean, it's like asking if I, did the 2 Sweet sign when the NWO came out. Absolutely.
Yeah, I acknowledge them.
Absolutely.
So how did you feel about them losing?
It was inevitable. We knew that was going to happen. They've cemented their legacy as one of the greatest tag teams. and I felt like the story had reached that crescendo, that climax, that it was like it needed to happen. You could see, and the storytelling never stops. So even after Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won, you could tell they were still telling the story, and I loved that. So I was okay with them losing for the purpose of the story.
And we're missing one match, I think. Wasn't there the women's?
Well, there was John Cena and Austin Theory.
No, I didn't forget that one.
Okay, good.
That was awful. Seeing John Cena like that, I've always disliked John Cena. As a wrestling fan, I don't dislike John Cena.
Yeah, he's pretty. Yeah.
I never thought he was entertaining, except when the bell rang.
Yeah.
So I always thought build up to big matches and storylines and all that, great, loved it. And then the bell would ring, and that's when I'd go get nachos. Because I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So that was that. But there was a women's tag team title, or
tag
team title.
It was a
6-man match.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus, Lita, who looks just a shell of herself. It saddens me because I was so in love with Lita.
Everyone was.
And Becky Lynch went against Damage Control. And that went just about the way you'd expect it to go. Your thoughts?
I see what they're trying to do, but I felt like they could have probably done it. I mean, the women's division, the tag team division needs some guidance, let's be honest. And I thought Damage Control was going to be that guiding light, but apparently not.
So I think that wraps it up. A little extra tonight. Episode's a little longer tonight. You probably had to, listen to this in like 7 segments. Sorry. As we gave you our WrestleMania roundup. Hey, tell everybody goodbye, Rudy.
For the barrel roller, I'm the Swamp Fox. I want to tell you to keep it station to station, and we'll see you out in the field.
It pains me that you don't eat seafood. I
haven't had.
When you say you're having fish and chips, what kind of fish is that?
That's the only seafood I actually eat. And it's not because I don't like it. It's just that I've never had good one. I'm open. Take me out to a seafood dinner.
I don't know, because seafood's expensive. You know why? Because it's good. And I don't know if I can trust you for the seafood dinner. I'm scared.
That drink come out my nose.
You're gonna eat it because that's the kind of guy you are, but you're gonna be like, I can't wait till he goes to the restroom because I really got to throw some of this away.
That would never happen.
All right. Well, I'm sure the Devil's Anus has some nice seafood restaurants, so we'll check one of those out. Rudy, good to see you. Thanks everybody for listening. You can find us on Podbean, but you can find us everywhere else. Whatever. Get over yourselves. Get over us. Everybody, get over it. We got more coming next week, and welcome to the baseball season.